Why not? And then I'll immediately regret my life decisions. But it's all good. It's all good. Fuck me. Okay. I woke up on a Tuesday. Got your girl been drinking, she Tuesday. Doors going up on a Tuesday. Oh, copy video URL. That might be important. Get some. I'm thinking all I need is that last section. I'll see if this works. Okay. And then move this to we're trying to maintain things entertaining. That's all we're trying to do here. I guess that would be. Oh my goodness, I cannot get that layout. I don't usually stream on YouTube. That's the main thing. And now there's a reason for that. Holy shit. No, we're not going to keep the aspect ratio. Okay, let's have the live chat be right here. Let's see. This is my first time streaming on fucking YouTube in a good minute. That's still not huge. I need to increase the size of that text. Okay. That should be better. Alright. So that'll be on the corner. Refresh. Make sure everything's good on my side. Knowing my luck, it's not. But we're going to see just to make sure. Okay. Let me know everyone can hear me. All that fun stuff. And we're gonna talk about some video games. So I feel like I got darker for some reason. It might be the perception. I look lighter on the. Okay, we're good. All right, we're good. The chat looks large enough. I think we're good. All right, it's cool. So I'm probably gonna do like a Twitch stream later, but I wanted to do kind of a general conversation stream now. Just talking about the joy and the fun of some gaming news topics. So the first thing I want to talk about is kind of the Nintendo and Xbox. All right, cool. The audio's good. I just wanted to talk about some Nintendo and Xbox stuff. So with the recent announcement of Cuphead coming to Switch, there's been a lot of talk, and there's been a lot of talk of Nintendo and Xbox getting together. And for me, this has also led into some high tier speculation. Like, I'm not talking about some, that just means we'll be getting. I mean, obviously the Ori and the Blind Forest. What's up, Z Killer? The Ori and the Blind Forest announcement is impending, and we're expecting it. But I think people think that this connection runs deeper, especially with some of the talk about Xbox Live. Even though, from what I've heard and from what I've read in reports, the Xbox Live connection is not as like in depth as it is going to be on the phones. Like on the phones, I think it's the full Xbox Live experience, whereas on the Switch, it's it's gonna be kind of like a neuter or halvesy version. Because a lot of people, there are a lot of fans, specifically Xbox fans and some Nintendo fans, who don't seem to recognize that the moves that Microsoft is making don't mean like, I've heard some people on Twitter talking some shit, talking about like, oh, we don't expect to see a Nintendo IP on Xbox, and I'm like, I don't think you understand what Microsoft's plan here is. Xbox is essentially slowly but surely abandoning the concept of a brand. Like, let me rephrase that. Is abandoning the concept of a console is what I really should say, not a brand. I think they're focusing on being... I'm streaming on here because why not? It's Sunday. Sunday is a different day. Also, I've been curious to see how much the improvements have gotten as far as YouTube streaming has gone. But anyways, Xbox is focused on being a brand now. I don't think they have any intention of really carrying on with the idea that they're only going to be a console manufacturer. The fact that we're getting like a discless Xbox One S, I heard the rumors say somewhere in May. There's a potential it's going to be somewhere else, but I think the point is it's coming. The point is a discless Xbox One is coming. Microsoft is focused on being a brand. I don't think Microsoft has any intention on like really staying to the console business. I think it's more of just like they're trying to, essentially they're doing what they were going to start doing probably in 2013 with the whole DRM, online only DRM. I think they want to kind of move into the space that Google just said, fuck it, since Google had no expectations beforehand, and it's been a few years, they could kind of just throw their hat right into the streaming ring. I think that's the direction Xbox is going. Now, a lot of people would ask the question, well, why buy all these fucking companies and shit if you have no intention of maintaining a console brand? Well, because Xbox has no problem being a third-party developer, they're essentially going to go into the same realm Sega did. I'm not going to say as gracefully, because Xbox, to me, doesn't have a lot of IPs that would get people that excited. I think it's gotten to the point now where people need to kind of recognize that Xbox has no intention of like maintaining this console idea. I think they've actually, to me, in a lot of ways, they've just grown past the idea. I think like as a company, that and because they're not making any fucking money. People also need to understand that Microsoft has never made money on any of their consoles. Never. Even the consoles that did well, like the 360, they didn't make money. And particularly because of some habits that kind of persisted around that gen, which was the money hatting that was going on for third parties in their games and the focus. It was where the 360 was so on top, though. For the longest fucking time, the 360 was on top in terms of getting the best versions of multiplats and whatnot. And they still couldn't make any real money because they spent way too much of it playing the game. And the game gets you a lot of notoriety, but if it doesn't translate into sales, the game isn't really worth it. A lot of people will say that this whole partnership between Nintendo and Microsoft is meant to help Nintendo's online catch up, whereas but the people are always asking, well, then what's the trade-off? Because I don't think the trade-off is games. I have no doubt in my mind that Nintendo was dumb enough to be like, we're gonna let our games be on Xbox. I think literally it's a one-sided street with that. But the advantage for Microsoft is they make money. Like, since they own those development teams, if you put a Hellblade out, or if you put a We Happy Few out, or even if you later on see something like Ori and Forza Horizon, the advantage is that, well, since Microsoft owns that either IP or company, they make money off of it. Microsoft's like, look, we're not making money the traditional way, which is putting out a console and then making money off the sales because the games aren't selling. But if you put it on a console that's doing better than you, and you make money off of the sales because you own that company, now it's cool. Now it's important. Now it works out because now your shit is out there in 6 different places. Like the fact that they're releasing Halo, the Halo trilogy on Steam. They don't give a damn about the console part of gaming. For Xbox means less and less now because they haven't made any money. Or they haven't made, well, actually, they just haven't made any money. And I think a lot of Xbox gamers don't want to really accept that that's what they're doing. Like, a lot of people have kind of come to even Xbox Game Pass is like, I would not be surprised if Xbox Game Pass came to other platforms. Game Pass is a very pro-consumer thing, but it doesn't make sense if you were a console manufacturer trying to push your brand. The reason why it makes sense is A, because your console games aren't really selling. Your exclusives aren't. They're not. What sells the most, and this has always kind of been the case, especially on the 360, Xbox multiplats are what sells it. Multiplats are what sell on Xbox consoles. I guess I should be fair. The early Xbox sales, it was more exclusives on there. But by the end of the Xbox 360 generation, and then like pretty much all of the Xbox One generation, it's been entirely just multiplats. And that's the and that just kind of leads in more to the idea that Xbox is more of a brand now than it is a gaming manufacturer. I mean, for God's sakes, if anyone's looked at the recent NPD for February, Crackdown didn't even chart. People, I don't know if you remember that Crackdown came out last month. Crackdown didn't even chart, yo. It didn't even. It wasn't. Okay, fine. It's not gonna be number one. It didn't even hit top 10. On top of the fact that Switch didn't have a stellar February, but the fact that Smash is still selling and they have evergreen titles, Xbox has never had, the closest they had to an evergreen title was Halo, and by the 5th entry, as we've seen, it didn't mean a goddamn thing. It didn't mean a goddamn thing. The trilogy will sell because everyone loves those original 3 games, right? But putting it on Steam is already another thing. But see, they're making money off of that because look, now I don't have to put it on my console, and I put it out for Steam that's going to be modded to hell. I mean, people were modding the shit out of the original Halo games from jump. They're going to be that game will get completely new life on Steam. And that's great for PC players. But then the question keeps arising. Xbox is so great, but it's because they become less and less of a console manufacturer. Like, the reason why Xbox has gotten a lot of praise in terms of their decisions, especially from PC gamers, is because it has nothing to do with Xbox anymore. Like, it has nothing to do with the Xbox One, I guess I should be saying specifically. Now, I think they've already admitted they're going to put out another console, but a lot of people are thinking they're going to do a discless version of it. They're going to do like a console version, a discless version. The X is cool because of how powerful it is, but if you don't have games, the fuck does it matter? I don't see it holding any water in that regard because there's no reason to buy an Xbox to play their games. Literally every game, I think almost every game, you can buy on anything else. The Red Ring was the other problem. The Red Ring, I mean, as far as the 360 was concerned, that's probably the reason why I never got a 360. To me, I've mentioned this before, but one of the most offensive things about the 360 to me was it was a console that succeeded when it had no right to. The 360 had no right to succeed as much as it did, considering it's the only Xbox is the only company I think that could put out a console that had such a bad failure rate and still do pretty well overall that generation. It didn't fucking deserve to, in my opinion, just for that reason. When you put out a console that breaks like a third to half of the time, that's insane to me. But I kind of just want to get the thought process out that Nintendo's not going to put any of their games on Xbox because Xbox isn't going to put any of their games only on Xbox. Xbox, especially because, and I think the advantage of it working with Nintendo is that, hey, look, Nintendo has a hold in Japan. Some of the games, and let's be real here, Cuphead being one of the prime examples here, Cuphead was one of those games that people looked at and went, why is that not on Switch? Why is Cuphead not on Switch? Because it's a game that fits to Nintendo gamers. Like I'll put it this way, the stereotype that Nintendo games have about being only for kids is the same is just as equated as the idea that Xbox gamers only play, like they're all dude bros and they only play shooters. Even though both of those statements aren't inherently true as a generalization, they are based in facts. That there are a lot of kids that play Nintendo games, and there are a lot of college guys that play fucking Xbox and only play like 3 or 4 different types of games. Why do you think most of Xbox's main games have guns in them? I think Forza is the only franchise they have that isn't a shooter in some way or form. And that to me is the problem. Like, Nintendo can slowly but surely shake off the kiddie mentality, and they have been over the last generation or two. Xbox has done nothing. Well, I won't say that. I will say the Xbox One is the most they've tried to change. The 360 had elements in there, but I would say the Xbox One was the most I've seen them openly try to push Japanese gaming, RPGs, just different styles of games that don't include guns. The problem is that a lot of those games are third-party games or not console exclusive games. So they always end up selling better on their extra platforms. Like, people said, oh look, Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out on Xbox. But like, Xbox to me didn't go the extra mile and get the other few games to make Kingdom Hearts players want to play it on the Xbox version. Even though the X technically has the best console version of the game. They have it the same issue that Nintendo has about catering more hardcore audiences. Microsoft has that when it comes to a variety of audiences. Like, no matter what you say about Sony and Nintendo, they can put out different genres of games and get all those games to sell. Microsoft can't come close to that. And at this point, they can't even get their shooters to sell consistently. That's a fucking problem. Oh no, yeah, the reverse is true. That Jesse, that is true, because you do see a lot of kids on Xbox. But see, the mind share, the thought process is still that adults play Xbox. Even though the reality is there's a bunch of kids on that system, the thought process is it's only adults who play Xbox. But obviously they don't seem to give a shit anymore, because no one's buying the fucking console. Like, I think Xbox right now is at like 42, 43 million, and Nintendo's somewhere near 30. Like, especially if all the games that Nintendo's been talking about comes out this year, they're going to blow past Microsoft by the end of this year, if not like by June. It all kind of just depends on how everything goes moving forward. Nintendo has actively made effort, and it was the same, and I hold Microsoft to the same standard I hold Nintendo at. Like, when Nintendo started the Wii U generation, I was like, the only way you're going to get me to believe in third party on Nintendo consoles is the same thing about me believing first party in Microsoft consoles. Microsoft already had a habit, people, and this is why I thought it was stupid. The signs of Microsoft's thought process was already obvious during the 360 generation. That's why during like the last few years of the 360, A, there weren't any exclusives coming out, and B, they were losing all the exclusives they had to Sony. Like, the hints of that was already in the 360 section, so people shouldn't have been surprised when we got over here to Xbox One and realized, damn, this has gotten even worse. You know why? Because they didn't change Nintendo with third-party games until we get a good generation of consistent third-party quality. The Wii U wasn't it. The Switch is it. The Switch has still got its struggles because its struggles are long-standing, but to sit there and say that Nintendo hasn't made any progress is a lie. And people want to say and tout Xbox Game Pass like it's a fucking accomplishment. I'm like, the only thing Xbox Game Pass allows you to do is play mediocre Xbox games at a cheaper price. But none of their exclusives as of recently have been good. Like, Crackdown 3 wasn't considered that good. State of Decay 2 wasn't considered that good. Sea of Thieves wasn't considered that good. I'm missing one. Is there another one? We Happy Few came out, wasn't considered that good. A lot of like most of their games in the last, pretty much since like the end of 2017, which ironically enough was around the time Cuphead came out. Xbox hasn't had a good exclusive. They've had either okay or mediocre exclusives, which then make you sit there and question why. And I think Xbox is starting is questioning themselves, going, why bother? What's the point? Why? There's no point in indulging in this shit because hey, we're not making any money and these games aren't turning out good. We Happy Few, by the way, was in development for so long, dude, and that game struggled. Crackdown 3, same thing, was in development for so fucking long, and you still couldn't get a good game out of that. Some people say it's okay, but that's like, to me, that's the best praise you can. That's bad for a game that's been talked about since. Crackdown 3 has been talked about since what, 2013? So this whole Xbox and Nintendo friendship, although will be beneficial, it'll be more beneficial to Nintendo than anyone. Like, Nintendo's getting the most out of this because it's getting more games to make its console look more appealing to the consumer. Xbox is just getting a lot of essentially it's the same complaint a lot of Xbox gamers have had with Microsoft as of recently. Well, Microsoft will get online and praise the shit out of Nintendo and Sony on their accomplishments. Thing for Microsoft. The writing, like I said, the writing on the wall for Microsoft has been on there since the end of the 360 era, and people are just now noticing it. It's kind of crazy to me, all things considered. It's kind of ridiculous that that's just now becoming an issue. What are you guys saying in the chat real quick? Oh, there has never been a need to buy an Xbox. There's never, to me, the first Xbox was the most justified buying Xbox. The 360, in retrospect, at this point, you could just fucking ignore. Because all of the games came out on other platforms, or as you've seen in the PS4, Xbox One generation, you've gotten a bunch of fucking remakes. So even if the PS3 versions of the game didn't play well, there's fucking remasters and remakes of all those games, for the most part, or just ports in general. They're just like on the PS4 now, or Steam. I mean, hell, you can buy a game on Xbox One and play it on Windows, so you still don't even need to own the console to buy Xbox games. Like, there is no reason to own a console, and I think that's the point. Xbox doesn't care anymore. Xbox just wants sales on games because that's where their money, if they're making any, is coming from. And there's probably not a lot coming right now because, well, over 1 million players know what their sales are at. I think Sea of Thieves actually sold relatively well, all things considered. But I just want to kind of prove a point here. Because wasn't DLC supposed to come out for that game? If I remember right, so let's go look. Sea of Thieves. And apparently I can't spell Sea of Thieves right. That's not what I was supposed to be doing. Sea of Thieves. That probably is not spelled right, is it? Oh, it is. Sea of Thieves is at a... Oh, it's not even at 1 million yet. It's been out for over a year. Or around a year, right? What was the release date on this? March. Oh, so it just hit its year anniversary and it's near 1 million units. On a console that had over 40 million users. That's insane. And then if we go look at State of Decay, let's go look. State of Decay 2, that's the Xbox One version. This is, oh, there's a survival edition. Oh no, that's the first game. I'm sorry. State of Decay 2, where are you at on VG charts? Oh, State of Decay 2 didn't even hit 500,000 yet. But then, let's go look up Cuphead. Where's Cuphead right now? Cuphead's got to be over 1 million or so. Probably going into 2 million if I had to take a guess. Cuphead is at... We're going to look at the Xbox One version. And I don't even need to look at the top 10 games for the Xbox One because I already know what the hell is going on there. I know what the issue is as far as that's concerned. Oh, does Cuphead not have it because it's a digital title probably? Yeah, so we don't know. That's kind of a shame. The last news article says it topped out 3 million sold, which doesn't surprise me. But most of Microsoft's games don't do that because the games themselves aren't that good. But let me look. I'm just saying the original Xbox, they had to try clocked it because that was their first console. That's why it had a bunch of original IPs and shit on it. And they actually tried to use the rare IPs to sell it. The 360 didn't do. The 360 has elements of doing that too, but it wasn't great. Well, I can't even talk about the layout. I mean, granted, Xbox One had a lot of other issues, like it's abysmal showing, but to me, the Wii U's wasn't that much better. Hence why both of those consoles started off on the wrong foot. The Wii U suffering even more because it was compared to not only the PS3 and 360, it was also compared to the Xbox One and PS4. Both shot it in the foot. But like I said, Nintendo at least took that criticism and went to a different direction. Whereas here, Xbox just kind of took this like, and it's weird because Xbox was publishing games on like Nintendo systems back then too. That's the other thing. This isn't even a new concept. Like they were doing that. You had Banjo-Kazooie games and shit on the Game Boy Advance and DS. Like it wasn't like they all of a sudden decided, oh now we're gonna start doing this. Like they've tossed around this idea before, then they backed off of it, and now they're jumping back on it. Although apparently Phil Spencer had mentioned either in a tweet or something recently that their E3 is going to be big, which I do not believe, because even if you want to talk about the developers they recently acquired, well, the We Happy Few developer was literally working on that game until the end of last year. So whatever they have might just be a teaser or some shit. And considering how well that game didn't go over with, I'm not overly excited. Stadia Decade 2, the same thing. They just put out a game, so there's no way there's anything ready. Ninja Theory might, maybe. I doubt that one too, but it's been enough time where Ninja Theory could have put out something else. Because Hellblade was a 2017 game? Or was it a 2018? I thought it was a 2017 game though. If I can fucking type. Hellblade was it's a 2017 game. So it's been enough time where Ninja Theory could have worked on something else. Forza Horizon is Forza Horizon, so no one really gives a shit. And then Gears of War comes out probably this year. Gears of War probably being the only other notable thing they have this year that could do anything. Let's see. I'm just looking. What did you say? Oh yeah, the OG Xbox, because the OG Xbox had to try. If there's any other conversation or questions you want to talk about Xbox, we'll do that for a little bit, and then I'll just jump into Stadia, because I don't understand why people think all of a sudden just because Xbox and Nintendo and Microsoft are playing nice that all of a sudden we're gonna get Nintendo games on Xbox. Xbox doesn't give a shit about that, because if they're not even buying the quality games, that aren't shooters on their own console. The fuck makes you think they're all of a sudden gonna start buying Nintendo games? These are the same group of people who don't even bother with this shit. These are the same group of people who tell you Nintendo games are kitty as hell. They don't make no sense. They don't tell us. I wish Cuphead's sales were broken down. Did it sell more on PC or did it sell more on and you'll get more. Now that's a guess, so I can't say that as a fact, but I'm just saying. Oh yeah, there's not a lot to talk about the PlayStation Direct. I think you have Days Gone. Sekiro just released, so it's Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, which I don't think has a release date, Death Stranding, which I don't think has a release date, Last of Us 2, which doesn't have a release date. It's not gonna be like the one. It's supposed to be tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's when they're doing the Sony Direct. There's not a lot. Oh yeah, the Sony censorship. The only new thing about Sony censorship I noticed was the DMC stuff, which DMC5 censorship, which is unfortunately the nature of Sony now. Sony realizes it makes more money in the West than it does in Japan, and they're now based in the US. And unfortunately, the people working for them have a completely different agenda, which you can make the same argument Nintendo had issue with before too, where you had too many people having the wrong agendas in your company. So this shit's gonna happen. I'm hoping, just like with Nintendo, it's a saga. It's a point where we just deal with it for a little while, and then hopefully it just goes away. Kind of like with Nintendo for the most part. I don't approve of censorship. I didn't like it on the Wii U. The Switch has been pretty devoid of it for the most part. And I feel bad because you got creators like the Simran Cocker creator who's concerned about what he wants to do next, because you got a bunch of games out here censoring, like especially because his game, all of a sudden Sony now gives a fuck about the intimacies mode, even though it was in the other two games that are still uncensored on the PS4, which is insane to me. But the fucking remake of the 3DS game, mind you, the 3DS game, mind you, remake is the one that gets censored. That's just insane to me, yo. That is absolutely insane. But I guess we can kind of just go into, I mean, inside Xbox doesn't mean much to me anyway. We'll see how well Sony does a direct style presentation, because there's not a lot. Sony has some games to talk about, but like, if they're not doing E3 this year, I don't know why they're doing this so early. But I don't know. It could be a marketing thing. I mean, we'll find out tomorrow. There's not a lot to say about Sony until it actually happens. So the Stadia situation. If you heard my thoughts on the Juices Loose, you already know I wasn't super keen on the Stadia situation. Particularly, it's okay, and I think that's the problem. I didn't really go into my thoughts between my opinion of it versus objectively. Objectively, it definitely has its audience. I don't realistically believe it's going to work out as well as they're claiming it to, because this is the same company that currently runs YouTube, which that should be enough in itself to show the concern I have, because how many people think YouTube has improved since Google's taken over and menaced the shit out of it? Everyone just put your hands up in the comments. Put thumbs up if you think if it's improved since Google's taken over YouTube, and thumbs down if you think it's worse. I'll wait. There's like 20 of you in here. I'm just curious. I'm curious. How many people think YouTube has improved with Google's management? I'm assuming you can do thumbs up and thumbs down emojis, can't you? No, in my ass, they probably can't. No, they're thumbs up, thumbs down emojis. You had to click the box for a second, but I'm just curious. I almost wish the Z Killers emoji was like a middle finger pointing down. That shit would have been funnier to me. But this is the same company, mind you, that we're going to trust to manage this fucking high tier ass gaming cloud-based network. This is why I don't trust that Google has the money to do this well. Doesn't mean it's going to be pulled off well. Edwin thinks differently, though. That's fine, Edwin. You were allowed to have your opinion. We try not to ban and block people here. We're against that kind of shit. I don't have a lot of faith that Google's going to do this well. On top of that, this concept has been done before by companies you never heard of because they tried it and it didn't work. Now, some people think, you funny Z Killer. Some people think that because it's Google and Google has the money, this could easily turn into like a high quality thing. The thing is, you're still required to have a decent internet connection, and you're still required to have a decent computer. And some of you would say, why do you say you have to have a decent computer? Because if you put it this way, if your computer runs Chrome slowly, then guess what? the stream is going to run slowly, regardless of the internet connection. If Chrome runs slowly, it means you have an unoptimized PC. The hell was that? Oh, that's Patreon. Don't worry about that. And I should have turned off the notifications from my phone. But I didn't do it because I'm fucking stupid. So let's do that real quick. Okay, there we go. So what I was saying is that damn, I lost my train of thought. That some people think because it's Google and Google has the money, that means they can do this well. I thought one of the weakest things about that presentation is the fact that you have non-gamers talking about, like, the way he came out and the first thing he said was, yeah, I'm not really a gamer. And then your first thing is like, well, why the fuck are y'all getting into gaming? Well, it's partially because there's money to be made there. Some of these features are actually pretty cool with the multi-streaming and the, my friend's playing a game so I can click to get into that game. I see the value in it. I'm just very skeptical of the application of it. Or who is this for? Like, because a lot of people tell you this is for the casual. But the only people who are looking at press conferences would be like the hardcore, like the gamer or like the tech enthusiast would give a fuck about these press conferences. So the conference to me doesn't say a lot. Also, when you're just telling me, oh, this is another streaming system, I understand people's appeal of it, right? Like, I understand for a person who has no interest in PC building or gaming, and they just want to, but they still want to casual. To me, ironically enough, as much as I would say it's for the casual, it also feels like it's a niche. Because if I'm interested, like, because here's my thing, like, the idea is that, I'm watching a streamer play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I want to try the game out. Well, I'm going to hit the play button on the Chrome browser and just start playing the game. The first thing is that you don't have a controller, so now you have to default to mouse and keyboard, which for some people is a bitch. To me, mouse and keyboard has a learning curve no matter who you are, if you're not used to using that as a control scheme. The other thing is that if I'm a casual gamer, that means I'm primarily watching the video to essentially have a gaming experience without actually having to play the game. Like, we've already gotten to the point now where games slowly but surely have gotten tutorialized to death and, like, simplified to death with some exceptions here and there. I don't imagine that a 10-year-old all of a sudden is going to hit the play button on Chrome and be like, I want to play Assassin's Creed or Doom all of a sudden. They'll probably play it for a few minutes, and then they'll put the damn controller down and close it right back out. The Stadia is a cool concept. I just don't see how many people. I don't see how practical it's going to be in the real world example, because the casuals that this is for, the kids or the adults, these are people who already would casually look at games at the most part, and then that would be it. Now, obviously, the Fortnite thing is going to be a dangerous fucking tool if that happens, as far as multiplayer games are concerned, because people are going to want to jump into the same game as you. I don't know how many people are cool with that in the first place. Even though it has the ability to be used everywhere, it's not really something people are going to want to use everywhere. For example, laptops and tablet control schemes are completely different. It's even though it's essentially kind of like PC, where I have the option to play it on a laptop or a tablet. The most comfortable experience I will have is at home on a desktop. So it's like, it's cool, but it's not like I'm going to get it's a cool feature to have, but it's not like I'm going to get really the most out of it, because more than likely, I'm going to be playing it the way I've been playing it, at home with a fucking controller on my hand. So it's not really great. Z-Killer, you were part of the beta? And that's the other thing. It's only for certain people. Like, it's ironically enough, as much as people like to say it's for the general audience, like, how many general audience people are really, like, sitting there going, I was thinking about playing Mario Odyssey. I was sitting there thinking about playing Doom. I was sitting there thinking about playing FIFA. But I didn't have the PC to run it. Because most of those people who are interested enough either know someone or themselves own the console. I mean, think about it. We already got a bunch of casuals that own these gaming systems that only bought these gaming systems because their friends are playing it online and are playing it this one way. Is and like you're saying, Katakuri, which is funny, One Piece. And like you're saying, Katakuri. Now, the physical media argument's not as strong as it used to be because let's be real here, you have a bunch of kids growing up in eras where they don't understand that concept anyway. Like, a lot of kids are growing up in the area where physical media means less and less. So if you grow up in the Netflix era, you don't even understand why people are buying Blu-rays at this point, right? And those things are cheaper. Also, people understand that the bandwidth that needs to be taken for gaming is completely different than it is for movies. Like, you can do Netflix with movies because movies aren't that big of file sizes. We know how huge of file sizes games are all of a sudden. Now, the idea here is that, like, Google's doing all the heavy lifting. I don't know if I care that much to have it in that situation. And also what they talk about you buying the game off a Google Play Store makes it seem like it's essentially like Xbox. It's pretty much going to be what Xbox is leaning towards. Which is just like a console-less system that you're only buying controllers for and playing the game off of a stream. It's also kind of funny to me that people were so against always online, but all of a sudden this is perfectly fine. The idea, though, is that I guess because Xbox had all the hassles of owning a console with all the disadvantages of playing on PC. Like, it was like the worst of both worlds meshed up into a console. I mean, you can, and I can understand that, but I think, and the thing is, I also don't think this is going to sway, like, PC gamers. Like, I honestly think, I would still argue that building a PC on your own is probably a better option than going into the Stadia shit. Because a PC can be used for a multitude of different things, and it will improve your Stadia experience anyway. Because if you have a console that runs faster and smoother, when you open up Chrome, that means Chrome will run faster and smoother. Oh yeah, the online subscription thing sucks. I guess that's the other thing. Well, I guess you would avoid that on Stadia. I don't know, because I don't know if Stadia even bothers with that whole... And like, am I only paying for the game on Stadia, or how does that work? And is the library tied to like my YouTube and Google account? But like I said, Google's track record is not like what I consider God tier in the first place. Remember, you had your Hangouts integration, your Google Plus integration, and the only thing that was good out of that whole thing was Hangouts, which they're killing that soon, from what I understood. So it's not like I don't understand the hypeness of the situation when Google's track record isn't what I consider the greatest. There's a lot of questions that are still about this whole system, and there's been varying reports of the quality of how well it runs. And the fact that the reason why consoles are so appealing is that no matter what area you're in, you can still use a console. Now it's becoming harder and harder due to the over need of Wi-Fi and internet and whatnot, but a console still holds some of its benefits. Not all of them, but some of them. Yeah. Let me see if I can grab the article for the Hangouts thing real quick. I feel like all of a sudden I'm losing my voice, which is not great. Yeah, here we go. That was in 2018. Let me see. It looks like it'll be done at the end of this month. Supposedly. Let me copy this over and put it in the chat. And then my chat won't let me post links. Let's see how this goes. I can still agree with the idea that Stadia will be decent. Like, Stadia will have its fans. I just don't know if it's gonna be a fucking mass success. That comes off more to me as a niche. It looks like they're just replacing. Was integrated copy. I think they're changing the focus of Hangouts. Like, Hangouts isn't going to be like... Hangouts and Meet will primarily be focused on team collaboration for G Suite customers and at some point made for available. It's becoming a more private feature, it seems like. So it's not like it'll be dead. It'll just be kind of taken away from the public, it seems like. At least that's the way I'm perceiving this article. From Google, but you know. There's not a lot going on there. Yeah, Juice, you're kind of late, dude. I've kind of gone through all the stuff. You were already streaming earlier. I don't see what the problem is. I decided to do a YouTube stream just to be different. It's also been a while since I've streamed on YouTube. I got the chat over here in the corner. This is cool. Well, I don't think Stadia is meant. I think that's Google's goal is to get it to replace the console experience. I just don't believe it will. It's one of those. It's almost one of those ideas that's too early for its time. This could be the beginning of it. Although it's been, to be fair, the digital reconstructing of consoles has been changing since, I want to say, at least the 360 PS3 generation. No. I'll probably do another. I'll probably do like a gaming stream on Twitch later tonight. I just wanted to kind of do this one because A, I haven't posted a video on this channel, and 2, why the fuck not? Just try to have a little bit of fun here. Stadia is a little bit too. It's the more I'm thinking about it, the more it feels like a niche, more than the general. Oh, this is for one size fits all thing. Because this idea has been tried before. Google having its money backing it is what makes it a little bit more appealing. But Google also is the same company that hasn't really done anything right with the things they've done as of recently. Like, even their phones, and I own a Pixel, isn't inherently great and has its problems. Now, this could be them getting their shit together, mind you. I just don't believe this is going to be like a massive hit out the gate. Especially because we don't know, we still don't know a lot. So at this point, we're just kind of waiting for more information. That's why it's kind of hard to talk about Stadia in like a sense of like finality. It's primarily just like the idea seems alright. I don't know if the application is going to be great because that's what's going to primarily make it a big thing. And at the end of the day, I think people who still game on PC and consoles have no inherent reason to switch all of a sudden. Sony, I think, literally is just going to put out another console. Sony is in the position where they don't really have... And I said this a while ago. Sony doesn't have to do anything. Sony is so golden right now. All they have to do is pretty much the same thing they've been doing. Which is that they need to make another console that... They just need to make another console that does the same shit the PS4 did. That's literally all they have to do. It's more powerful. They have their exclusive games and titles on it. That's it. Sony has so much brand recognition and consistency in their brand that as long as they don't get cocky and do something stupid like they did with the PS3 generation, they'll be fine. In the PS3 generation proved they could still fuck up in the beginning and still manage to catch themselves towards the end of it. So, also because it's like the only successful market they're in currently right now. Like I think this is one of their only departments that's making money. So it doesn't make any sense to me to think that they're all of a sudden not going to continue this. And that's kind of the problem, that unlike Nintendo and Microsoft, because Sony's doing so well, they have no reason to change. Whereas the other two had to change because of the mistakes they made. I don't have any reason to think that Sony wouldn't. I mean, honestly, at this point, a lot of people are questioning why Sony has made as much money as it has. Like, it got to the point where we were sitting there going, why the fuck is this console still selling? This console is still selling. And no one fucking can tell anyone why. That's the position the Xbox is at right now. I don't know why I have these in my ears, because I can't hear anything anyway. So at this point, Sony's just probably going to chill. It wouldn't surprise me if Sony... It would not surprise me if Sony decided to copy Nintendo or Microsoft in one way or the other. I mean, to be fair, the PS4 controller was prepared to copy Nintendo to some degree. So it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to jump on that bandwagon again. I don't think they're going to make any more handhelds, but they could make like a PS5 and then make like a PS5 connector. Like have a controller for the PS5 that's essentially a Vita without it actually being a Vita. Like they're going to do some weird half step where they try to expand upon an idea that Nintendo's already done. Because that's what Sony has been doing. Because I know VR hasn't done well for them. It's done okay, but that's about it. But Sony, for the most part, is going to coast. Because Sony doesn't have to change. Like I said, that's the problem. Sony doesn't have to change, therefore they probably won't. Oh my goodness. I have a crick in my neck for some damn reason. But, I think that's it. I don't really have anything else to kind of talk about, so... Not in, like, major gaming news. I mean, we'll have Sony's little direct tomorrow. The Persona 4 thing announcement didn't really go well, and we won't hear anything else probably until next month. Well, I wouldn't even say that, Lightning, because, I mean, Nintendo's got a lot of the anime promotion, too. Like the Kill la Kill game that's coming out on Switch. My Hero came out on Switch. I mean, yeah, you got fucking World Seeker and Jump Force, but both of those games are fucking garbage anyway. Well, that's true. I mean, that's a fair point. You don't change what isn't broken. At the same time, they're gonna have to do something eventually. Like the landscape of gaming is changing, so they can't just stay the same. That's why Nintendo changed, because they couldn't stay the same. Although it's in Nintendo's habit to change, and Microsoft isn't making any money. So what is the rule now going to be that Nintendo will focus on kind of like hybrid gaming? Sony will focus on big budget gaming, and Microsoft will become essentially like a Sega and become a third-party company. Or maybe Google will take its place as like a string box. Like Microsoft and Google will hang in the streaming section, Sony will handle the big budget, and Nintendo will handle like the portable or hybrid gaming. No, Sony has things broken, believe you. I mean, Sony has its problems, but Sony's making money. Like, Sony's problems isn't costing them money. Hence why, even if they're broken, they don't really give a shit right now. That's why I said, like, eventually they're going to have to change. And to me, PS5 would be a good experimental time to do so. I don't expect them to, mind you. I expect them to do essentially the same thing they've been doing. I mean, yeah, but the controller for the PS3 isn't saying much. I'm talking about, like, the console. I'm not even talking just like simply, oh, it's just like the console and their games are the two things that need to change. Oh, I don't trust Google to respect the consumer anyway. I mean, hell, the three companies we have don't respect the consumer consistently. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft will say fuck the consumer a lot. Microsoft has been the most pro-consumer it's been since its inception. Because 360 was garbage, yo. You had to pay for online and locked out certain streaming services and shit. Like, come on, yo. So, none of these companies have been consistent about that. They only do it when they think it's like, it helps them out. And I don't even talk about Nintendo being anti-consumer. We already know about all that. And Sony's in the middle of their little anti-consumer about blocking crossplay and blocking and pushing censorship all of a fucking sudden. They all have their moments. It just kind of changes depending on the generation and the situation. But I think that's it, honestly. I don't think I have anything else to say. I have a few skits I want to do. The next one will probably be anime related, and then this next one after that will probably be like Xbox related. I want to do like a part 2 to like the little series of Xbox skits I'm doing currently. So those will probably be the next ones. I could give a fuck about the Epic Store because I don't fucking use the Epic Store. I also don't know a lot about it, except from what I've overheard, so I can't say much on it. But yeah, I think that's it. I think a quick hour stream is fine. Like I said, I'll probably do a stream later on tonight on Twitch. So keep an eye out on the Twitter and Twitch for various updates and streams. And yeah, every console has its problems, but we'll see what's going on. We'll see what's going on. So, until then, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support and love. 24 people watching this. That's cool. And like I said, follow me on Twitter and follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and you will see more videos from me and more skits and more streams. Also, I'll probably put a poll in the I'll probably put a poll either on Twitch or YouTube about whether you guys prefer streams on Twitch or YouTube. I did it before, but I'll do it again now just to see where everyone's at, and I might alternate. Like certain nights I'll do it on Twitch and certain nights I'll do it on YouTube. But anywho, that's enough talking for me. This has been the Insane Game Freak. That was a game. Play to win, and I will catch you guys later. Peace. Also, because I need to go to the gym, and that's important. Always try to work out your body as well as your mind, folks. That's how we progress in this world.